Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. So today I thought I would talk to you guys a little bit about my travel makeup routine and show you guys how I do it, basically. This is my little pouch of makeup, including brushes, which I bring with me when I travel. This is actually kind of a recent development. Well, in the past, I have not been able to get it down to this small of a pack, which is why I was actually kind of excited to show you guys this. Um, that and the fact that when I did go on my trip, I actually didn't get to use this makeup, even though I packed it, because I last minute decided that I wanted to get in my second session of wart removal the day right before my trip. And you're not supposed to be putting stuff on your face really, except for medicine and moisturizer and stuff like that, right after you get wart removal. So I didn't get to use it, but I'm very proud of the fact that I've been able to pare it down to this. And really, if you were to ask me what my absolute essential makeup would be, um, this would be it. So I'm going to be showing you guys that. I do also have two other products to show you in the sun care category, and then I did also want to show you this, which is not in my travel set, but I will talk a little bit later about how this compares to my OG concealer. This is the Natasha Denona High Glam Concealer, and I just want to talk about it because I know it's new and people might be looking for information about it. But yeah, without further ado, I'm just going to get into it. So the first things that I'm going to be taking out of this pouch are just my brushes and oh my god, oh, okay, just flung that across the room. But the first things that I wanted to show you before I actually get to applying the products, because I might forget to talk about these, are the brushes that I bring. As you can tell, I bring all short brushes when I travel as much as I can, if they're clean, if I've been able to wash them in time. But usually I bring three face type brushes. Really, I personally don't find there to be much of a difference between like blush brush types and kabuki styles, at least for the purposes of what I use it for. Um, so, whatever's clean and whatever fits in the bag. And then I do bring one smaller brush for concealer. This is optional, but I have had like a lot of dark circles lately, so I wanted to bring that and just tell you guys where these are from. This one is the 142 Concealer Buffer from Zoeva. Don't know if that's focusing, but and then this one is the multitasking brush from the Eco Tools travel set. It comes with another smaller brush, I think. And then this is the e.l.f. Putty Primer Applicator, which I basically just use as a regular face brush, not necessarily just for primer. And then this is just some random kabuki brush that comes with like one of those 7-piece, 10-piece sets from Lazada or wherever you get your brandless makeup. You don't obviously have to have these exact brushes. My recommendation for this makeup kit, at least, and how I do my makeup is just to have basically two to three face brushes and then a concealer brush. I don't do really any eye makeup for travel unless I'm going to be going to like an event, like if I'm staying overnight for someone's wedding on location or in Tagaytay or something like that. If that is going to be the case, then the only difference I think will be just that I will bring the rest of this set. This is from the Zoeva Voyager set, and the rest of those brushes I think there's a blending brush, there's a flat shader brush, there's a liner brush, so it's very eye focused, and those are my favorite eye travel brushes, that pack. I'll try to link everything that I mentioned down in the info box below, just so you have an easy way to find it if you need to. Yeah, with that, since I've got the brushes out of the way, let me just get started with the actual routine. So the first thing I do is to decide which sunscreen I'm going to be using for that day. Now, normally, if nothing, is going on with my skin or I'm not feeling particularly dry, I guess, I will use this one. This is the Goodall Vitamin C Vita C Dark Spot Care Sun Serum. Um, I have used this for a few months now. This is, I think, my third bottle of it. And really, if you don't like sticky or heavy sunscreens, this is great. And I'm not sure 100% if this is what has been helping with my dark spots, but because I also use like the regular vitamin C serum and the serum, oh no, the vitamin C cream that is for nighttime and just moisturizing. So I can't say for sure that this is what has worked for me, but I like it and the consistency is quite good, I think. It is moisturizing, but not as much as this one, which is the Beauty of Joseon Sun Relief Rice Plus Probiotics SPF 50 sunscreen. I love this for if my skin is feeling very dry. If you've gone to somewhere that is a colder climate or fresh off of the plane, you might want to have something, or even before the plane, actually, you might want to have something just a little bit thicker and creamier to keep your skin more moisturized and maybe to help it, just to help prevent damage to your skin barrier. I actually used this on my recent trip because I had the wart removal done. So I had a lot of scabs, tiny scabs all over my face. For the first couple of days, was using this one because, like I said, this is my default, the Goodall. But I had noticed that my scabs were not like healing or falling off as fast as they did the first time that I got wart removal done. So I switched to this, which is what I used the first time I got my wart removal, and my scabs fell off like within a day. And for those of you that might be confused by what I mean by that, is when the scabs or the scars underneath the scabs heal enough, the scab itself will just naturally fall off. So you actually want that to happen sooner rather than later. And this is absolutely something that helps speed up that process. Okay, enough about that. So here I have 3 pumps of the Goodall. I never do just one pump because I feel like one pump is really tiny. And I just want to make sure that I am protected, you know? Get that all over. I know some people are going to be like, oh, you should massage upward or whatever. But yeah, that's just how I do it. Let that sink in a little bit. And the first step that I'm going to do is color correcting. Now, this is actually something else that I talked about recently in a Get Ready With Me. That was a first impressions, and somebody had asked me in the comments how I felt about it and all that. But this is the Strokes Spot Veil Corrector in medium CC. I find that this corrector works really, really well for me personally, mostly because of my skin tone. So most correctors on the market, like the Pixie one, the Elf one, any of the ones that are more mainstream, to be honest, are typically for, I would say, like really light skin tones or really dark skin tones. When you go really dark, there you find like Elf also has one, like an orange corrector, and then LA Girl has a really popular one. But not a lot of people make correctors that are the correct depth for truly like light medium skin tones. Like if you're just in the middle, it's hard to find a corrector that is the right depth, and this one is exactly that. So I think because of the fact that they offer like a light, medium, and dark, I think in this product, the medium really hits a spot in the market, I think, that is not filled currently. And I don't have any comparable products to this. I love using it. So I will just do a couple of dots. So I really like to do or take a less is more approach whenever I am traveling because I feel like it's better to have your makeup wear off and you just look like a normal person than to have your makeup, piled on so thick and then look really gross. Um, Also because I tend to have more dryness when I'm in other countries, or like whenever I'm traveling because of the plane. It really, like, any amount of time on a plane, honestly, like just sucks out the life from my skin. So I'm trying to wipe away this part because I also try to just have the corrector in like just the spot where there's darkness, because otherwise I feel like it kind of defeats the purpose. And See there how it works. It's a little hard to do this while looking in the camera because in a weird way I feel like I'm stabbing my eyeball, but also trying to keep it open. So there, that is about how much I would do. I mostly just try to get it canceled out, like the darkness, and to be honest, it's not fully, like it doesn't completely wipe out any discoloration there, but we are going to be putting concealer on top of this. So I think, you don't really have to completely wipe out your dark circles. I kind of actually like a little bit of dark circle because I feel like it looks more natural. I'll also do this, which is actually something I'm just about to try because this is from when I came back, like on the plane coming back. I guess I didn't put on enough moisturizer or something, but it got really dry, and my skin does this thing where if it's dry, I don't even have to have a pimple there. It will just like randomly inflame and crack in spots. So this is already healing. Um, and you can't really tell, but there's like a very tiny like scab layer there, so that's why I feel comfortable putting a little bit of concealer over it. But if I was traveling, this is very much how I would do my makeup light, but I would obviously try to conceal that because who wants to have giant spots on your face when you're trying to have like cute photos? I also do try to, so I have a lot of um, blemishes near my hairline just because, I like to keep my hair moisturized and my face doesn't like that, but it is what it is. But I actually don't worry too much about the sides of my face because sorry, just a piece of dry skin there. I don't worry too much about the sides of my face because I find that most photos are taken from the front anyway. So I'm not too meticulous about it. So I just color correct mainly in the under eye and then wherever else I feel like I might need it. Then I make sure to put that brush away. And then I will choose one of the kabuki type brushes typically to do my face. Although lately I have been preferring like a looser kabuki as opposed to the really like short, dense, packed type. Yeah. So next thing is going to be concealer. Now my holy grail favorite concealer of all time is the Happy Skin Multitasking Serum Concealer in Nude Beige. That's what it looks like. Is it focusing? Okay, not sure if that focused, but that's the one. And I brought this out, the Natasha Denona High Glam Concealer that I have, mostly because people like when I was watching reviews about this online, it basically sounded like the claims were almost exactly what were the Happy Skin like benefits that I love about it, and that's why I ended up getting it. I did notice though that there is still kind of a significant difference between these two. I find that this, while more moisturizing than most other concealers, is not as moisturizing as this one. And I guess it has better coverage, but it also does look more makeup-y. Like this has better coverage, but looks more makeup-y than the Happy Skin one. And just for my own preferences, I find that I still gravitate towards the Happy Skin one, and it's so much cheaper. This is kind of an older bottle, though. I don't know if you can see that, but it's very shiny. And I recently saw that the new ones in store were matte, so I just hope that they haven't reformulated because that would be very sad for me. Um, let me just show you guys. Well, actually, let me show you guys what the swatches look like. So that is how the Happy Skin one goes on. I know that looks really light, but basically all foundations and concealers oxidize on me. That's why I always get a slightly lighter shade. So that was the Happy Skin one on top. And then here you can see the Natasha Denona one. I don't know if it's coming off clearly here on camera, but definitely the Natasha Denona one just has a slight, oops, just has a slight bit more thickness to it. It's still good. Like obviously I've kept it, don't get me wrong. But I do find that I would only bring the Natasha Denona one if I was going to go to an event or something like that. Like if I'm packing this travel makeup kit for like going to a location wedding or something like that where I have to really get glammed up. Whereas the Happy Skin one I just use all the time, basically. Um, yeah, I think that's the main difference. Um, more glam, better coverage, less skin like, more skin like, not as good of coverage, but still solid medium for me at least. So this is my everyday. So just take that out. Another tip I have, by the way, is I noticed, so I use, okay, don't know if you guys heard that, but my dog was just scratching. Her bell was going off like crazy. But so a tip I have for you here to make your makeup look more natural, I guess. Especially because I typically just use this concealer because it's so serum-like. I use this as foundation pretty much, especially when I'm traveling, but typically even on a day-to-day. So what I do to make that seem more natural is to make sure I don't get too much product. So I'll take the brush and I'll take the applicator and I'll just basically um, brush on just a very, very tiny bit. I hope you can see that. But I basically paint on like a very tiny layer across the entire brush. I find this also helps me at least waste less product. And then I go in to my face. And as you can see, like it still has a decent amount of coverage, I think. But it's really just that people think that they need so much product, but they don't. So, yeah, take that what you will, but that is how I do it. And again, I typically aim for medium coverage. I'm not a full coverage girly, at least anymore, because I find that it just doesn't look great, really. Um, maybe it looks better in photos for some people, but I feel like when you're traveling, also taking care of your skin, because typically people will travel for a few days at a time, and you don't want to like cake your face with makeup the first day, look fine, and then the next day have your skin totally break out because it was dry and not, what do you call this? Dry and not cared for, basically, or like congested with a bunch of stuff. So that's pretty much how I will do my entire face. And as you can see, like right there, when I put that on before I blended it out, this concealer has, I think, pretty decent coverage. Very natural coverage. And typically one doe foot plus just a tiny bit more will get me to the coverage that I want. So just dip back in one more time. Do the wipey thing again. And I have a particularly large amount of discoloration right there. Right now from all the dryness of the plane coming home. Let's just find that. And then I'll mostly do my forehead just to make sure that it matches, but I don't have too much to cover on the forehead, thankfully. And there we go. There we are. That is it for the concealer bit. Let me actually just try to, here, I didn't put too much of the concealer here. Let me just try to do a little bit with the Natasha Denona just so you can kind of get an idea of how it applies. So this is do my neck. I also don't do my neck, by the way, anymore because it is, well, I mean, because I use like a medium coverage serum concealer on my face, I typically don't find the need to blend so far down my neck, which is really important when you're like somewhere where you need to wear scarves or turtlenecks. I really hate it when when I get makeup on stuff. So that's what that's about. Here, You can see, like, even in one swipe, it already looks like more in the brush. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I can definitely see it. There, let's see. So I have some more discoloration there. Let's just see how that. Oh, the sun just wanted to come out. Like, so. I mean, there's texture there still. I hope you can see that it did tone down the redness a little bit more. But like I said, these two are very, very similar. The only difference really is that I would say if you're a like the only difference is that this is on the higher end of medium coverage. This is on, I would say, like smack in the middle of medium coverage. This is more serum like. This is more makeup-y in finish, in my opinion. Sadly, not something that I think you can see on my current quality of camera, but I'll also try to insert some close-up swatches if I can. Okay, next, after that, typically I will then do my brows. And I do use the Anastasia Beverly Hills or Anastasia Beverly Hills brow pencil. I can use either the Brow Wiz or the Brow Definer, but I have right now in the mini size of the Brow Definer. And typically I will, I mean, if it's on sale, like the full size, I'll just get it full size. But I do find that these, like I got this one as a freebie on Sephora. Before this one, I was able to buy like a small, like deluxe travel size or deluxe sample size just online on Shopee. I like getting the little sample sizes because sometimes I also rotate out products very quickly. Like I have phases with the products that I like. So yeah, if you don't have this mini one because it's harder to get, don't worry about it. But I like getting minis specifically to put in my travel bag or in my everyday makeup bag back when, you know, going to the office was still a very regular thing. Sorry, this is a little harder to do in a viewfinder rather than a mirror. There. I mostly fill in towards the front and then towards the outside of my brow tail because I don't want a super harsh look. Okay, this is a lot harder to do on viewfinder than in person. And the reason why I do my brows, by the way, after my foundation slash concealer is because I do feel like I always get foundation or concealer in my brows as I am doing my face. So this just prevents me from messing them up and having to redo them, just avoiding that situation altogether. This eyebrow of mine is actually a lot higher than this eyebrow. So I try to just fill in at the bottom and then tiny, tiny bit at the top just to clear, or like just to clean up the edge, but really don't fill in too much. And I try to make, like, especially these front bits, I try to make them really look like hairs. So you don't have to be very even, well, not very even. I mean, you don't have to be completely even, but, you know, because my face isn't even to begin with, I'm just trying to even it out a little more, but not give myself, you know, block eyebrows, basically. So you see that I just kind of tried to wipe off a little bit of the arch that I had drawn in a little too high. And that's it for the brows. If I'm feeling kind of extra, I might bring a brow gel, but not this time, you know? Next, I will do blush, and this is my new favorite, the Rare Beauty blush. I will typically for this use the other remaining face brush, and again, similar technique, especially with this one. You want to be like very gentle because it's so pigmented, like it's scary pigmented actually, and can mess up your makeup a little bit sometimes. But if that happens, like what I think I've just done here to the right side, or to my right side, I will just go in with my brush that I used for concealer and foundation and just go over that. So it tones it down. All right, and now we don't look crazy anymore. That is the thing with this blush, like especially this color I really love. This is Grateful, but it's kind of intense. And by the way, if you have like I guess bottom heavy face, I don't feel like I have a bottom heavy face, but I do want to make like my cheeks pop out more because I'm a little bit like flat in terms of my face shape, or like it's a little too even, like a little too oblong. And I personally prefer more of like a heart-shaped face, like with more of a V. So to do that is why I place my blush up so high. Like you're wondering, probably wondering, or maybe wondering, if why I am putting my blush basically in the highlighter position, and that is because the color kind of draws in the eye. So if you put the color up here, it kind of lifts your entire face. So let me just a little bit of that off on the back of my hand because this Rare Beauty blush is really, really intense. And I have nearly messed up many, many makeup looks. And then I'll just typically do a little bit on my nose if I'm somewhere cold, especially. That's it for the blush. You really, really want to try not to go overboard with that. Make sure to blend well. I try not to get any of this like blush, or any blush really, towards the center part of my face, by the way, because that can look really not good. Like really, really bad. It can make it look like you're sunburned, or like your face is really dark, or just not a good idea. Okay, and then last but not least, we have lips. So I pretty much bring one of two glosses slash balms. Usually if I'm bringing a gloss, it has to be a very nourishing gloss, and these two both are. I bring one that is clear and one that is colored, just because you don't always want to have the hassle of using a colored one. Or like if you're somewhere really cold and maybe you have like chapped lips on the, I get a lot of chafing on the top edge of my lip, and sometimes on the sides. And if you have that, you want to be able to put something nourishing over it that won't make you look like you just didn't wipe your face after you ate, right? So I, for clear gloss, really like the Peri Para gloss. I don't remember what this is called exactly, but I will link it down below. And this is very high shine, not sticky, really gives you like that wet look, which I prefer. I'm not super in love with the scent, but it's not bad. It's, I say like kind of fruity, but a little bit like makeup type fruity, if that makes sense. Anyway, and then my colored lippy favorite for this sort of like natural-ish look is the Fenty Gloss Bomb Heat in Hot Cherry. These two have very similar finishes on the lip, I feel. Like it almost just levels itself out. This one obviously has like some plumping ingredients in it. I don't think it's too bad. It's more just like a warm feeling rather than like a burning feeling, for me at least. There you can see. Both of them really have a very similar texture and are very comfortable on the lips. Just mix those up so I don't go insane. But there, that is, oh, sorry. That is the makeup look. Again, it's not, oh, sorry. I think I wiped off some coverage with that when I had my little accident with the blush. So now I'm just gonna go over that with some concealer. For this type of covering, by the way, like for things that where you have like dryness or blemishes, I would really recommend using the Happy Skin one and not the Natasha Denona one, because with anything like crunchy and flaky, like in texture, you really want something more moisturizing, and that's going to hide it better. As opposed to, the Natasha Denona might have better coverage, technically, like more pigment in it, but if it looks more makeupy, you're gonna see the texture, and that's gonna show. So, there. You can also, of course, like bring this in your bag if you want to be touching up and all this stuff, but I typically don't bother because when I bring it and have, the best intentions to touch my makeup up and look very put together and all this, I never do it. So there's that. I think that should be good. You know what, I'm just gonna go straight. Okay. I think that's good. It's not 100% gone. You can definitely still see it, but when you're taking photos, you're probably not going to be taking photos from like right there. Probably going to be taking more photos from like this angle. And of course, my camera ran out of memory just then. Um, but this is, I guess, where we'll end the video. I'll just give you guys one last look. This is the final makeup look. Very simple, not super full coverage, but I think very polished and probably going to look a lot better in photos than if I just came in barefaced. I hope you guys found this video helpful, and if you enjoyed it and want to see more from me, then I hope you will hit that subscribe button and stick around for the next videos. And with that, I will see you guys next time, hopefully. Bye.